Woo! Good time. VR is hopefully making a comeback. Yeah, I told House of GrimGram we would do this because I think these are really cool. I think it's a interesting way of at least seeing people's thoughts without the written word. Not a lot of nuance in the written word. Not really. You can't really tell what someone is, where they're really coming from in the written word. It's taken on face value of what you're reading into it, not what they actually wrote. So now he was talking about initiative, and he was addressing another issue from the Facebook group that was, initiative sucks balls. Let's just get rid of it. Let's go freeform hippie, fucking. You take a turn whenever you think you're ready, kind of thing. Is what the post looked like, sort of, right? But specifically when he was talking about in this video, I think the problem with initiative is, and I put it on there, is that initiative is in most systems is fucking boring. It's not well done. It's just this metric of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which coincides with coincidentally how most people play role playing games. Very stagnant and it's not a lot of fluidity to it. Blame video game culture. Who knows? So with initiative, and I said that Savage Worlds is initiative probably the best I've seen. Quite honestly, it gets everyone table excited, and we'll talk about that. So his example was of where initiative sort of falters. This is GrimGram again. Is the bar fight, right? He had this setup, and people wanted to have the drop, and he didn't think that high level NPCs or creatures couldn't be caught off guard or beaten in an initiative count by the party. Disagree. Fucking hard pass on that. I'm guessing it's probably to do with system, right? F20 kind of teaches you that. In that high level means that you're always going to win the day against someone that's inferior to you. There's little to no chance of actually having your shit handed to you by someone who you would consider an inferior grade or level. But he does say, well, there would be a surprise round, right? So the surprise round in D&D only gives you so much, right? So the F20 systems, it's not really that much. Fate, it could allow you to actually do a few more things to it, right? You could have some consequences to what's going on in the scene, depending on what kind of game you're running. For me, in Savage Worlds, that is going to give you the drop, which is going to give you a +4 to your trait tests, right? Likely fighting. And then a +4 to the damage, which in Savage Worlds, that +4 is fucking huge. It's gigantic. That's essentially a free fucking raise. So you're looking at some massive ass damage when it comes down to it. So it's really what it is. I think it comes down to how you run the situation in a bar fight like that. Like, absolutely. I disagree. The game system I choose for my primary system is Savage Worlds, and I tell you what, that a goblin with a fucking pointy stick is always going to be a threat to your character, regardless if you are a novice or you are a legend. It's going to be that way, right? There's always going to be that danger. There should be that trepidation in life. Like, you know what? I could probably kick this guy's ass. Think about cinema. We see that in cinema a lot. The cocky hero, the cocky villain, and he gets the shit knocked the fuck out of him, right? By someone he thought that they could take on. And it just is what it is. The next thing was another problem I have with initiative in most systems, right? Savage Worlds doesn't have a normal initiative system. Is that they tie initiative continually to dexterity, agility, what the fuck ever, cute synonym of the day from the fucking Thesaurus Rex that they've gained. I think that's ludicrous. Initiative doesn't always, it's not really how fucking snappy fast you are. There was one system where initiative was tied to a different stat, and it really helped change my perception. And they tied initiative to perception, right? To perception, wisdom, insight, whatever it was, right? It's that total spectral analysis of the battlefield and what you're in. It doesn't matter how fast you respond, right? It matters what the hell you're aware of. And that was pretty neat. It was very interesting to see because it also changes the dynamics. People saying, "Well, this stat is only good for is great for these 800 things, and this stat is good for these things, and this stat is not so good for other things." It really mixed that up a little bit. And that was pretty cool. I would definitely add that as a house rule in any F20 system. Definitely make wisdom count far fucking more than it does now. Sorry. Now we're talking about Savage Worlds. He mentioned that Savage Worlds uses a card system, and people automatically say it's fucking stupid. Those are the people who have never actually fucking sat and played it. The card initiative system is easy. It's a deck of poker cards, and that the fact that you use a deck of poker cards adds a lot more to the game than people think it does. It's a physicality of being, right. You're at the table now. You've got the physical objects in your hand. It's not just dice. You got your dice, you got your cards, and you got your tokens for your bennies. There's a lot going on to it, and if you're a player and a GM worth your shit, all that will be themed. I show a lot of things on the G Plus group where I theme out everything. So it's not just the fact you have these poker cards, but it makes it exciting because now you've got cards that have imagery, right, attached to the genre you're sitting in. So like if I'm running, I don't know what's a good one. Say I run a Savage Fallout game, right? My cards are the Wasteland cards. So they have these great poker decks that are all done up in this crazy Mad Max style art. And then the bennies are shell casings, right, or bottle caps, or anything else that fits into that genre. And in the dice, I color code based on what I'm doing. And it all blends into this one thing. So anyway, so the card initiative in Savage Worlds, it plays out, right? So 2 to ace being the run. And the initiative is counted from high to low, right? So from ace to 2, and it's reverse alphabetical order, just like in poker, right? So clubs are the worst, spades are the best. And everything else falls out in between. And sometimes the suit actually plays important parts. If you get clubs on some of the things you're trying to do when it comes up for that cycle, you get fucked because the club is bad and it provides it's a hindrance or an obstacle. Something has happened. But when you're playing this, when you throw those cards down, man, you're just bam, 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 and everyone is like, fuck, face card, 2, I got a fucking 2. God damn it, the GM has drew a Joker. When the Joker comes out is when everyone fucking ups to the table because they're like, fucking bennies for everybody. And if you're using the right rules, it's bennies. People unshake. There's a lot you can do with that. There are special edges that activate based on a Joker for certain characters. But it's a lot to it. Now you have this physical marker, right? A lot of people have invented these fucking boards and the slide rules and all this shit of how to keep initiative. Savage Worlds, you get the fucking card right in front of you. So you're like, all right, aces, kings, queens, jacks, 10s, 9s. And you just see the countdown is so fast. Everyone can see who goes next. Everyone is armed up and ready. They're in the game. They're already ready to pounce because they're like, I can see who's going where and what to do. You can hold initiative. GrimGram also said that Savage Worlds doesn't take into account a character's quickness. That's actually true, but not true. Your agility doesn't really affect your initiative count. However, there are edges in Savage Worlds. So there's an edge where you can't take a card less than a 5, right? So bam, oh, that was a 3. Fuck. Hit me again. That was a 2. Hit me again. That was a 5, right? And that actually alters the flow of the game a lot more than people think. That deep background mechanics of when you're looking at, you only got 52 fucking cards, and now somebody is offsetting how many cards are getting shot out of the table, right? There is another edge that allows you to get 2 cards at one time, and you can act on the best of your choice. There is a tactician edge that is used by like warlord type characters for UF20ites. So you got a tactician edge. You make a knowledge battle roll, and based on your success on that roll is how many extra initiative cards you get out, and then you sit there as a fucking battlefield leader, and you can divvy out those cards as you see fit, replacing other initiative cards for a different order, and you actually you're now controlling that battle space. Which is incredibly awesome. So Savage Worlds, there's a lot more to it, but GrimGram is actually, it's not a hit on him. He actually said he doesn't really play the system, doesn't know that much about it. So just for him and for anyone who watches this video or his videos, there's a lot more nuance to Savage Worlds. And I can't think of anything else. Yeah, I don't know. Just mix your initiatives up. That's, when I'm in initiative, I walk the table, I'm hopping around, I'm doing the jump surprises of the players and asking, like, go. And sometimes you got to be like, all right, this is the fucking heat of the battle. Boom, there's the big bad. He's got his fanatics out. What are you going to do? Well, hesitate. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, next player. Right? It seems dickish, but sometimes you have to do that. The fucking inventor of Savage Worlds, Shane Hensley, he does that. There's a video of him doing that, and the look of utter horror and shock on the players' faces because they're not used to someone saying, look, man, we're playing this is a game. We're supposed to be in the heat of combat. We're supposed to be out there doing shit. Bam, 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 bam. You have your character sheet in front of you for hours and hours and hours. You know what you can do. You can see the tabletop or theater of the mind, right? You know what's happening. You have a count in your head of what's happening. You know who's going where. You know what you're capable of and what your party members are capable of. don't hesitate. Just jump in there and do it. I think that's what it comes down to. Is a lot of the initiatives really slow down because people want to take the methodical approach. Like, what's the best? What's the numerical advantage? Don't do the numerical advantage. Do what your character would do, right? Your fucking thief isn't always going to try to do the best numerical advantage. Uh, criminals are usually pieces of shit, right? They're self-serving, and they will keep themselves out of the fucking fryer as much as possible. Not every warrior is a super badass who's going to take advantage of the situation. You know, some of them are just hardheads, and they're going to charge into battle and just start swinging. So it all kind of blends into how you manipulate that tabletop and the fantasy that's going on in everyone's heads. So there's a lot of ways of making initiative fun and exciting. There's a lot of add-ons you can do to it that help out with that initiative system. The chase cards from Paizo, those are awesome for adapting an initiative system to a different situation that's going in. There's a chase PDF that I found online that was really interestingly well done, and it actually incorporates the dice rolls into the damn thing and how you set up, and that determines how far out you are and the encounters. Some of the hazards that are faced. It's pretty neat. It uses a deck of cards as well, so I'll be pulling that in the Savage Worlds for some interesting chases or maybe dramatic tasks. There's a lot of opportunities for shit like that. But yeah, it's really my recommendation is initiative doesn't need to be getting rid of. Initiative is just part of the game, and ultimately it's a game, and you just have to learn how to embrace it and say, how can we unfuck this and make it unboring? Right, that really seems what it comes down to a lot of people is it's boring. I've only heard a couple of complaints from that particular crowd, and you know who they are, about how it's not fair or whatever other nonsense. I don't know. Play a fucking warrior jazz hands in order to applaud the wizard's fucking nonsense. Yeah, other than that, I don't know. GrimGram, that was cool. Video responses are all a blast. Let's keep doing these, man. This is badass.